Something to say, video.
So Concord On Air is happening live again this year. And here's the thing with live TV. It's everywhere. You're out on a date, you look at your phone. Concord On Air. You're home in bed. Get a little hungry, open your laptop, order takeout. There it is! Concord On Air. You can't escape it. And the whole concept, it's so fascinating to me. It really is. We live in this world with Snapchat, Facebook, your grandma's Instagram. Everyone is outdoing each other to stand out from the crowd. What crazy thing will happen next? Will the mayor dance? Who knows? And the people we've selected this year to be our most fascinating individuals, they are the cream of the crop. They are the top of the State House dome. It's like when you have a group of friends and you all go out and they tell you you're so fascinating, like you're just the greatest thing on the planet. I mean, what better way to tell someone they're fascinating than on live TV? Am I right? Am I right, guys? Yeah.
Well, are you happy? You had to do it, Josh. You had to do it.
Do what?
Too many fascinating people, Josh. I can't keep up.
Do you need some help?
Help? Oh, it's past help, Melissa. How are you supposed to determine who's more fascinating?
Well, it's up to our discretion, and unfortunately, we can't pick everybody.
Well, what if we nominate ourselves?
Well, it's community members nominating other community members. It's tradition, and we only have 4 open slots.
Tell it to the people, Josh. They just keep rolling in.
Gosh, how many years have we been doing Concord On Air?
6.
And every year we just yada, yada, yada.
You know, yada yada, Concord On Air. It highlights all the exciting events that we've covered throughout the year.
Save the date, October 15th, 70 clips.
And not one of them featuring my stand-up.
What's the deal with that?
You guys are looking for fascinating people.
Hi, Mike.
Bob Sakamoto. He's the guy that polishes the Capitol Dome.
No, we don't need more fascinating people. We already have plenty of fascinating people in Concord.
That's right. Justin's getting upset.
Well, we can narrow them down. Maybe have them lick envelopes or something.
No, remember what happened to Susan Ross? We love our fascinating people.
Then what do we do, Josh? What do we do?
I know a guy. I'll give him a call. Giddy helps.
No, Mike,
He's been spending too much time in the server room.
And what about the hosts? We need to fill those spots.
Well, if we don't, I could always dance.
No!
Welcome, City of Concord and surrounding areas, to Believe It. I'm your host. My name is Dawn Drew, and I am here to hopefully help you to get out of your box and to understand something that maybe you didn't quite understand before you watched the show. So fasten your seatbelt.
Hey, could somebody get that?
I'm here today with a wonderful guest from Concord.
Believe it or not, it's Concord On Air. You better watch it October 15th. Tune in to see all the fun things we do. Who could it be? Believe it or not, Concord TV.
Hello, I'm Doris Ballard, Executive Director at Concord TV, and welcome to the 6th Annual Concord On Air live telecast for 8 hours from noon to 8 p.m. And if you post on Facebook and say hello to us, we just might get the news and say hello back to you during this hour or during the day. Well, I don't know how I can top this Seinfeld parody that my staff did so brilliantly, but I found a way to top it because I have two amazing filmmakers here with me right now. I'd like to welcome Dan Habib, how are you?
I'm
and
good,
his son
Doris.
Sam
Thank you.
Habib, how are you?
Thanks for having us.
Good. Well, we're thrilled you're here with us today. Now, I know that you were once working for the Concord Monitor, correct, as a reporter, but over the years, you've kind of become a filmmaker, and now you're at the a position with the University of New Hampshire Institute on Disability, correct, as a filmmaker?
That's right, yeah.
Talk to us about your first film and how that led to this new career.
Sure. Well, thanks for having us, and really excited to be part of this day at ConcordTV. ConcordTV has been a big part of our lives for the last year or so, as Sam will tell you. You know, this guy really got me into the filmmaking world because you know, when you have a child who has a disability, your life changes in a lot of ways. And so when Sam was very young, when he was about 3 years old, I decided to try and tell the story of this journey that we were on for making sure that Sam was fully included in school. And thankfully, we had a great school in Beaver Meadow, right, Samuel, where you spent your elementary school years. And at that point, when I was still full-time at the Concord Monitor, I started making the film Including Samuel. And that took me about 4 years to make. And that came out in 2008, and I decided this is what I like doing, and I wanted to just keep making documentary films. So I was fortunate to get a job at the Institute on Disability at UNH, and now I do that full-time as make films. And this guy is now my right-hand man on a lot of the films that we're doing, as he'll tell you about. Yep.
So, Sam, I know you've been involved with your father, obviously, as he just said from the beginning. Tell us about that experience.
I was featured in one of my dad's films called Including Samuel. I was really young. It was awesome being in a movie. Like my dad, I also enjoy making films. In fact, my career plan is to be a multimedia storyteller. I was featured in one of my...
And so actually Samuel is part of the CHS Live, which is in the same room at ConcordTV, and he'll tell you more about his experiences, but he is somehow got the bug for making films, and I don't know how it is, but he's really, a lot of his homework assignments now, right, Samuel, are done as films.
That's exciting.
Rather than writing papers, because it's such an accessible medium.
That's really exciting. Well, I know that we're going to be looking at a clip of Sam's film that he was a part of, and your clips of your films, too. We're very excited about that.
Yep.
But for now, we're going to be talking about National Night Out, and I'm wondering, Sam, if you're able to introduce that clip.
National Night Out is an annual community building campaign that promotes police community partnerships and neighborhood spirit to make our neighborhoods safer and more caring places to live. Let's take a look at this video clip of the National Night Out at Rollins Park.
I'm Officer Howe from the Concord Police Department. We're here at National Night Out. It's August 1st, 2017. This is a great community event. It's a way to bring police, fire, state police, other agencies, all members of the community to kind of come together and to celebrate a great night together to kind of fight back on crime.
Hi, it's Trooper John LaPointe with the New Hampshire State Police. I'm on the motorcycle unit, taking some time out today to come to Concord National Night Out. We participate in many of these events throughout the state. We're here in Concord tonight to just to interact with the public, reach out with them, and talk about the safety issues we have in the state. It's not often we have time to interact with the public during every day of our job. Events like this give us the chance to really talk to them and express to them things that are concerning to us. One thing we're really pushing now is the hands-free law, texting while driving, using the cell phone at all, GPS, anything in your hand that's electronic, cause people to drive distracted. That's where we're really pushing that and let people know we're really out there harping on it, really looking for it, especially busy season that it is now with the holidays and the season, the summer season.
We're in town Concord. We're here at National Night Out at Rollins Park. We're doing rock painting for kids. And it's tying in with the Kindness Rocks projects that is going on nationally right now. And the idea is to paint a rock, paint a little message on it, make someone smile, and then hide it somewhere for someone to stumble upon it and make their day.
Oh, we're just participating with Concord PD. We're helping with public awareness of safety, for both police and fire. So we're just helping them out. I want to make sure that they know that if they have any questions, they can always reach us at Concord Fire. And also, safety is important. It's important for people to test their smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, and to have an emergency escape plan in case something comes about at home.
Hi, good evening. My name is Mark Latham, the Executive Director of Pleasant View Center on 239 Pleasant. We're a skilled nursing center. We're here tonight enjoying it with the community, and we have 2 ponies, little miniature horses, Ultra and Sweetie.
I like them bringing the helicopter. I really enjoyed going in there.
My name's CW3 Ian Hamilton. I'm with the Concord, New Hampshire Army National Guard. I'm here, the pilot of one of the Blackhawks. We're here for the Concord Night Out. Letting people climb in and out, ask all the questions that they want, explain what we do.
It's actually nice to kind of sit back and to see thousands of people from the community kind of come and enjoy the event.
And welcome back. That was a great video from National Night Out. I'm Jim Boulay, and I'm joined by my friend, Mr. Chamber of Commerce, Tim Sink.
It is an absolute pleasure to be here once again on Concord Live, Concord TV Live, and this is an exciting event. There is so much information that people are going to be able to enjoy today. So sit back, relax. We're going to show you some videos. We're going to talk about the really cool things that are happening in the community, and you're going to meet a lot of very fascinating people.
You know what the best part of today is?
What is that?
It goes for 8 hours, and we're not on for 8 hours.
Well, thank heavens for that. Jim. When I said you're going to be entertained, you will be entertained, but not by us for 8 hours.
And first, I want everybody to know that we did not call each other to coordinate our outfits today, but he does look sharp. I just want you to know that.
I'm a little disappointed that as the mayor of Concord, you're not wearing a jacket and a tie.
I thought you were going to do that, so I figured we're all set.
Okay, well, we can be casual and enjoy it. I did want to ask you a question, since we're getting to know each other a little bit here in front of the rest of the world. Why did you get involved in politics? I'm sorry for the curveball question.
Great question, though. I think it was pretty much expected. That was what my family did, and my mom was a teacher, my dad was a teacher, and anytime something needed to be done in the community, they picked it up, either organized it, ran it, discovered it, they made it happen. So the idea of giving back to the community really was something that's been ingrained since I was a child, and my dad grew up here in Pennacook, and so Concord has really been kind of a home for a long time, and I think we live in an incredibly wonderful community. I mean, we're very, very fortunate. And I've been really lucky to be able to serve as mayor as long as I have. But
well, this is not a job that pays a whole lot of money, and you have a day job as well. So I've always been kind of impressed that that you take your volunteer time to get everything done in the city and then manage to still run a successful firm during the day. So kudos to you for,
thanks.
For that level of
I
energy.
couldn't do it without the chamber's help, that's for sure.
Well, I get paid for that, and I'm grateful for that.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You do
It's a paying job. Yeah.
Hey, what do you think of downtown?
Not too shabby. Not too shabby. That was a long process, painful at times, as well as you know very well. But I think the results speak for themselves. I think we're seeing some real fruit coming from those efforts in terms of additional housing in downtown, market rate housing, new restaurants coming in, exciting projects on the horizon. I have to say that the results have exceeded my expectations.
I'll be honest, and I'll say this exact same. They've exceeded mine as well. But you know, you take a little bit of a leap of faith, and it's amazing when a community can come together. I know we had over 70 different meetings to kind of bring everybody's ideas, and not everyone got their way. But you know, there's so many good parts to Main Street, and I think that it's nice to be able to see when you make that effort, and then, as you say, the fruit's kind of coming around. Take just the southern part of Main Street, for instance, from Pleasant South. We've added, with this new project we're looking at with the Employment Security Building, over $50 million in new tax base.
The numbers are incredible.
Which actually exceeds what was done down at Horseshoe Pond. So, and that's really what we need to be doing, is adding tax base. So my hope is that going forward, we start adding depth to Main Street. I mean, I think you can see there's a whole lot more activity on Main Street. There's more foot traffic. You and I happen to be at a ribbon cutting at a local retail establishment.
Like once a week we're at ribbon cutting.
We are actually. Three last week. Three last week. I thought it was great.
Downtown, yeah.
But the feedback that I think we both heard was the foot traffic has just absolutely skyrocketed their business. So it's.
I like your thinking about adding depth in terms of downtown, and we're going to be moving a little bit east and a little bit to the west, and something that I'm very interested in terms of a horizon project is eventually we're going to see an expansion of 93 go through Concord. So what can we do in order to improve the image of downtown from 93? We've got a beautiful downtown, but it doesn't look that great from the highway at this point. So as you're driving by, how can we make it more attractive so people say, I need to get off this highway? And did you notice the new mural on the Ralph Pill building?
Right.
I mean, that's a little iconic thing that people are going to drive by, and it's going to catch their attention. They're going to say, I've got to check this out.
Those folks have done incredible work. I mean, the same folks did the mural on the side of the CVS building downtown. But that's the image. We need something that kind of attracts your eye. I'm finding more and more folks on Sunday nights, for instance, are pulling off the highway, stopping in downtown Concord. They're eating, they're participating within the community. So it's nice to see people getting off. But I think you're absolutely right. It's that backside of downtown we really need to improve.
There's plenty of room for improvement. But I have to say that this time of year we have a lot of visitors in the state, and a lot of people coming to Concord because of the foliage. So the visitor center at the Chamber, we're seeing a lot of international folks coming in, and they are very complimentary about this community. They love it here. They like to walk around. And what are we going to do? We've got an hour and a half to kill. What can we do?
Right.
And we just say, just walk down Main Street, check out the shops, maybe visit the State House, visit the Tuck Library, grab a bite to eat. Here are some great restaurants. All you have to do is walk down the street, and you'll be entertained.
It was nice. Big kudos to you. Yesterday I ran into some folks who were visiting, just like you said. These folks were in Minnesota. What do? I was able to actually direct them to the State House, go check it out. The fact that
cool.
you showed leadership and really worked with our legislature to get them to stay open on Saturday was a wonderful thing, and on a Saturday no less, so it was fantastic.
We're getting more than 100 people showing up at the State House for the Saturdays. Unfortunately, it's somewhat limited. We'll only do 4 Saturdays this year, but because it has to be privately funded, so we have to go knock on the doors of businesses. We're in New Hampshire. The state is very frugal, as you know better than most. So it has to be funded through private efforts and to pay for the security and the cleanup and the staffing. But it's well worth it, because that State House is a working museum, and it is one of Concord's greatest attractions. And all we have to do is put the word out, and people will flock to that building.
Right. You had just Saturday morning, I think you had some interest group rally on the State House
There was an energy
Plaza.
group, yeah.
You had the farmers market, restaurants, and the retail folks were alive and well. Everybody always talks about a parking problem. I think sometimes parking problems are a good problem to have.
If you have to walk a whole block to your car, then I really feel sorry for folks. I'm sorry, but that is not something I'm overly concerned with at this point. I think we have adequate parking, but I like to see more traffic on Main Street, and I'm glad that when you drive down, you do have to look around a little bit, because if you didn't, then we'd have a real problem.
But it's interesting to see even where the license plates are from. It's a lot more Massachusetts. It's a lot more Connecticut, Rhode Island. Those out-of-state folks really are getting off the highway, so it's great to have them be part of our downtown.
Well, it looks like we're just about ready to look at a video of the ribbon cutting on Main Street when we opened it up and moved forward. So that's what you're going to see next.
Sounds good.
I want you to know that I am very proud today to be along with my fellow city councilors to mark this grand reopening of our completed Main Street. We have come a long way since it all started on September 29th, 2009, when we began a dream of a safer, accessible, and more vibrant downtown. Our Main Street project truly was a model for what can be done when people actually talk things out in a civil fashion. And I challenge you to find another community with that level of authenticity of public participation.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?
This is indeed a proud day for not just Concord, but for the entire Granite State, because Concord's Main Street is also New Hampshire's Main Street. You did this the New Hampshire way, nonpartisan, private-public partnership, working together, the state, federal, and local level, on time and on budget. I salute all of you who have been involved in this project. Congratulations for a job well done.
When I made the decision to purchase a business in downtown Concord, it was in part because of projects like the Main Street Project and because of organizations like the Chamber of Commerce in Town Concord, the Merchant Roundtable. There's infinite levels of support that you can get in this community if you want to get involved, and I think that that is one of the many reasons why people keep coming back to this downtown. Yes, they will come to check us out now because it's really beautiful and we did a great job, but I think that they will keep coming back because of the people downtown.
Hey, welcome back. That was really great. Our Main Street is very exciting now and hopping like crazy. Well, before I go back to my wonderful co-hosts, Sam and Dan Habib, I want to say hello. We have a Say Hello project going on. If you go post on our Facebook page, Concord TV, you will see some posts. Continue to comment on there, and we'll say hello to you during the hour. So I want to say hello to Ben Burgess from Miami, Florida. Hope everything is well with you all in Miami. Riley King from Deerfield. Hi, Riley. Patrick Dinan, I hope I said that right. And Son, must be from Concord because I don't see any places. And Taika, Lord, I hope I said that right. Taika Joseph, hello. So any of you who want to post on Facebook right now, and we'll say hello to you on the air because we want as many people to go to Facebook and we want to reach 2,000 likes today. Okay. All right. So busy summer this summer with video camps. And we were filled up every camp, beginner and advanced and filmmaking camp.
Wow.
And Sam, you came and made presentations to the students, and they loved it. You were an inspiration to them. So tell us a little bit about what you presented as part of your film that you're working on.
I did an internship over the summer with ConcordTV. They helped me film and edit my accessibility project. I also presented about some of the films I've made for school to the campers of the ConcordTV Youth Camp. I had a lot of fun working with the campers and helping them learn how to make films at the camp. I created a first-person perspective film on the accessibility of downtown Concord.
All right, let's go take a look.
I filmed the project by mounting a GoPro on my wheelchair and filmed with it.
Okay, so now? No?
I went around downtown Concord and checked to see if the stores, sidewalks, and parking spaces were accessible.
You got it.
I wrote and recorded my own narration to match an edited version of the video footage. I wrote and recorded my own narration to match an edited version of the video footage. I also interviewed some important people that had a hand in developing the renovation of downtown Concord. I interviewed Mayor Jim Bulley, developer Steve Dupre, and Cindy Robertson from the Disability Rights Center. The 12-minute film is not totally done, and it will be open captioned when it's finished in a couple of weeks. But I'm excited to premiere a clip today.
I couldn't have said it better. Thank you. Let's take a peek at Sam's film.
My name is Samuel Habib. I am 17 years old. I'm a senior at Concord High School. Concord finished a complete rebuilding of Main Street in 2016. Before the renovation, downtown Concord was not very accessible. For example, Bagel Works was not accessible before the downtown was rebuilt. My family boycotted Bagel Works because I could not get in. I decided to film the accessibility of downtown. I mounted a GoPro on my wheelchair. We drove up and down Main Street and into some shops. I also interviewed Mayor Jim Bulley, developer Steve Dupree, and Cindy Robertson from the Disability Rights Center to discuss downtown Concord and the importance of accessibility. How would you rate the accessibility of downtown Concord now?
Compared to what it was, I think it is 150% better. But we can always continue to do better, and we did, so for instance, the tip downs to the sidewalks, so that makes it easier to get across the street. We changed it from 4 lanes to 2 lanes, so when you go across the street, it's a lot of shorter distance to get across. So I think it's safer for everyone, whether it's pedestrians and motorcycles and cars and trucks. It's much safer for everybody.
What improvements, if any, could Concord make going forward?
So we have things like the library that are accessible now, but in Pennacook, the library is not as accessible as it should. So the library in Pennacook is really important. One of the things we're doing is we are going to be building a new community center up on the Heights. And one of the reasons we're building a new community center is because Green Street is not as accessible as it should be. So the new community center will be open and available for everybody with open space, whether it be gymnasium or breakout space for classrooms and such. So whenever we do projects in the city, we always think about accessibility.
How was the accessibility of downtown Concord before the renovation? And do you have any examples?
That is an important question, because the accessibility was terrible. It was awful. And there were plenty of places that people couldn't go because they couldn't get inside. And so, for instance, if you're on the western part of the road, we had a double sidewalk. And some people couldn't get up the double sidewalk, to even if they want to put money in the meter, because when you're driving, you have to go pay the meter, you know. So we put together a committee, and your mom was on the committee, was she not? Yes, she was. And your mom actually really helped us to put together a plan to make sure that all of the places were accessible downtown. So we had 18 storefronts downtown that weren't accessible, and 15 of the 18 are now accessible. So I think I've seen you at the Works before with your parents. And before, that wasn't accessible.
What would you want someone without a disability to understand about the importance of accessibility?
You know, it's important for people to understand that even though you have disability, you're a huge part of our community. But for many, it's part of a strong economic piece of our community, because people with disabilities or accessibility issues still go out to dinner, they still shop, they still participate in our community just like everybody else.
What improvements, if any, could Concord make going forward?
it would be nice if they would extend the accessibility on down where it stopped. And there are certainly other businesses on other streets that could be made accessible, which would be nice too.
Welcome back. To start off, we want to say Amy Gerard called in on, checked in on Facebook and says hi to Dan and Samuel. So hi Dan and Samuel from Amy Gerard. During this segment, we're going to talk a little about the quintessential New England village, a part of Concord, the village of Pennacook. And kind of the cool thing about Pennacook, or at least for me, when my first experience moving up to Concord some 32 years ago, that's where we started off and just felt a sense of community, a sense of warmth. I came from the city of Manchester, a much larger city than Concord. So it was very refreshing to come up to Pennacook and get to know this community a little bit better.
And Pennacook plays such an important, vital part of our history here in Concord. And what's been nice, I think, is that there was a feeling for many years that Pennacook had really kind of been neglected. And I think that you can say with real authority that it's no longer the case. You know, the city has made tremendous investments in the former tannery site, well over $4 million that we put into that. And we end up, I think, with some business. You have the hospital with a presence there. We have a proposal for a new housing development going on there in the downtown square. So, you know, there's a lot of activity. I think you're going to see more and more activity out towards Exit 17 as well. But you know, one of the things that, you know, it's important to note is that the tax base is really important to grow in Pennacook, because sometimes people don't realize we have two different school districts between the Merrimack Valley School District and Concord School District. And that tax base plays a role with the taxes, and particularly around the school district. And the taxes are about 63 cents higher in Pennacook than they are in Concord. So developing that economic development field, the tax base in Pennacook is critical. So it was nice to go and visit. Well, I would not visit, I'd go often, but to be able to go and to do the dedication for the new or revitalized gazebo named after one of my former colleagues, Dave Poulin.
That was a really nice ceremony, and it demonstrated a lot of community pride. People up in Pennacook love that village, and they take care of it. And so it's just really heartening to see that. So I think we're going to move on to a video right now about that dedication ceremony.
Sounds great.
I'm Brent Todd. I'm City Councilor for Ward 1, and we just presided over the rededication and opening of the new gazebo here in Pennacook, which you see behind me. And this was created as a result of a lot of volunteer effort, including and especially, I think, the Pennacook Village Association, but also the City of Concord. In partnership with them, we were able to receive some additional funding, and as a result, rebuild something that the community really has fond feelings for, and that's a gazebo, a real placeholder for the community here in Pennacook. And we certainly also had some really generous volunteers, and I want to mention two others, which is especially J.H. Spain for the actual construction of this, and Jason Lacombe of SMP Architects, who volunteered the full design of this gazebo. So it's a great moment for me, especially here today. When we look around in the news and we see all of what's going on in our country and all the turmoil and strife that we have, it's really refreshing to have an event like this where the community gets together.
You know, it is special to be here in Poulin Park. Gentlemen. I was able to serve with Dave for several years, and you know, he had a vision. I think he had a passion for Pennacook that set a very high bar, and it was great to be able to serve with so many great representatives from Pennacook, from Bill Verano to Steve Sherliff at large to Liz. The years we spent together, and I can tell you I learned a whole lot from Liz. To our wonderful Brent Todd today.
I'm certainly excited to be part of rededicating this gazebo to Dave Poulin in Poulin Park, and actually doing the ribbon cutting today to gift this back to the city. As Brent and the mayor mentioned, Dave Poulin was very well known in this community. He did an awful lot here. I knew Dave personally, so I can attest to that, and I'm sure he would be extremely pleased today to see the completion of this reconstruction project.
And also, this takes a real positive step forward, finishing this section really in the heart of Pennacook, is another symbol for folks of hopefully what are really good times to come. So I was really happy to be here today, and appreciate Concord TV coming out as well and filming this so folks can see it over and over again. But
We're back, yes. So you had someone say hello to you. That's wonderful.
Yeah, we got a hello from the Gerard family, Amy and Chuck, and Josh and Allie are friends of ours, and Josh is a classmate of Samuel's.
That's great. Well, hello back. Right. Yeah. Thank you. One of the films, Dan, that you recently created that you've been showing here and there is the Mr. Connolly Has ALS.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us about that film and how did it all come about?
Right. Well, this is yet another film project that was really inspired by Samuel and our life, because one day we were at homecoming about 2 years ago, right, Sam, with the homecoming parade. So, by the way, homecoming was last night, and the dance was last night. And so Sam was a little bit tired today because he went all out at the dance last night. So he's a little low-key, but that's all right. So anyway, a couple years ago when we had homecoming, I saw Gene Connolly, who many of the viewers here I'm sure know as the Concord High principal for many years, talking with Samuel. But neither one was able to use their voice at that point. They were both using communication devices and hand gestures. And I just had this moment of thinking, this can't be happening anywhere else in the country, that a principal and a student are communicating through communication devices. And so I decided at that point to do a film, but the Concord Monitor had already done a really great series. So I thought, well, how can I do this a little differently? So I approached Gene and I said, Gene, how about if we have every single one of the students at Concord High think of a question they want to ask you and write it down on a cue card. So they came up with about 1,500 questions, and some of them were very difficult questions about his greatest fears, whether he considered committing suicide. I mean, really intense questions. And he sat for hours and answered all the questions on the stage. And then my life with Samuel and seeing how people perceive people with disabilities as being less intelligent, less capable, has affected me deeply. And Gene was able to talk about how he now sees people talking to him differently and as if he's less intelligent. So given all that, I decided to do this film, and it's actually going to be, we're trying to get it nationally broadcast, but it is going to be streamed live on October 22nd online. So if people want to see it, they can go to our Facebook page, Mr. Connolly Has ALS, like it, and we'll get all the information there.
It's wonderful. Before we go look at a clip of the film, Mr. Connolly Has ALS, Dan, Sam, I'm going to ask you a quick question. As your father was working on this film, what was that experience like for you?
Mr. Connolly was my principal at Concord High School. Mr. Connolly is awesome. For the filmmaking process, I helped my dad review cuts for the film and helped review what student questions to include. Also, my dad wasn't sure the ending with the Beach Boys song and seeing Mr. Connolly in the scuba gear would work, but I thought people would need a laugh at the end.
So that's a little spoiler alert.
Mr. Connolly was my
little spoiler alert about the end of the film. But Samuel, I remember my editor delivered the film at one point. I said, well, this ending's kind of offbeat. Are you sure? And I showed it to Samuel, and he was like, big thumbs up. And Samuel was my right-hand man, as my story consultant throughout the whole process.
That's wonderful. Well, what do you say we take a look at a clip of Mr. Connolly Has ALS?
Sure, there's a trailer I think you're going to show. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, your principal, Gene Connolly.
Wouldn't it be nice if we were older, then we wouldn't have to wait so long?
We invited every one of the 1,600 kids at Concord High School to think of a question they might have for him.
Hi, Mr. Connolly. What is your greatest accomplishment?
Mr. Connolly, what's your biggest fear?
Students asked about pretty much everything.
Hey, Mr. Connolly, I really want to know what you do to manage your flawless hair. I think it's amazing.
Students asked even the very toughest questions.
Have you ever considered assisted suicide or euthanasia?
To be 100% honest with you, I have thought about it. However, I am one of the world's all-time optimists. I have lost the use of my vocal cords, but because of modern technology, I have a machine that allows me to speak. However, All of you are missing my Boston accent.
Nice. Oh my God, yeah, there's definitely a strong resemblance. No doubt, the smile.
What was your first reaction when you found out you had ALS?
I remember leaving the doctor's office and my wife getting sick in the parking lot.
It's hard to tell somebody that it's going to be all right or things get better. Just embrace it and love him and get as much as you can every day.
That is when it hit me that this disease was going to kill me.
My son Samuel has had a disability since birth.
Does he like sunflowers? I like sunflowers.
Now Samuel was headed off to Concord High. I knew Connolly was devoted to making the school a welcoming place for every kid.
That's what kids feel, his real, genuine love for them.
Well, an inspiration to us all, Gene Connolly.
Life is full of challenges. We get little say in what happens to us, but everything to say in how we deal with it.
Great. Well, welcome back. Talk about those videos, just absolutely inspiring.
Very nice.
Great work, both Dan and Samuel. You know, I get invited to a lot of different events and to participate throughout the year, and it's a real privilege to be mayor of Concord. But one of the most fun that I get to do each year is to do the event with the chamber, and we call it the State of the City. I get to work with the manager, Thomas Bell, and the challenge is always to how do we present, oftentimes a lot of the same facts differently each year. So, we've tried to put a little different twist on it, but I think it gives us an opportunity, the chamber gives us an opportunity kind of really to talk about what's going on in the city and hopefully to provide some information that you may not typically read or see every day in the newspaper. So what have you learned from our presentation? See if you were paying attention.
Well, one of the things I learned is that people will complain about the property taxes and I have to pay my tax bill, and then we take a look at a comparison of how Concord rates compared to other cities of similar size in New Hampshire and in New England. And Concord does a lot better than most people expect. We have a very reasonable tax rate based on comparisons of like-sized cities. But the other thing that I recognize about this event is that it's one of our most popular luncheons that we do. We get a very strong turnout because the information you're providing is very detailed. You give sort of a general overview of what's happening, what are some of the bright spots. You also are very honest about what are some of the challenges coming up. Thomas Spell, he knows the numbers, he digs kind of deep, and it's a brief presentation, no more than 45 minutes. So you're not getting bored with it. You're getting some terrific information, and then there's Q&A, and you guys deal with that extremely well.
That's one of the things we really do try to do is to tell you something that you may not something you're going to walk away with. You're going to learn something that day, but it is important. I think we live in a great community to be able to talk about a lot of the wonderful things going on. But I also think it's important, as you said, I try to make sure when people walk away that they're a bit challenged, they may think differently about something. And we are a large community. We have a large amount of property that is not taxable. So it puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the rest of us to carry that burden. And we are a city where we have a prison here, we have a homeless population, we have, if you look at the calls for service, there are mental health issues. But so with all the wonderful things we have, it's important the way we can communicate that message is we come together to really support one another and support our community.
So we'll have another one of these coming up, and we have a video to show you, give you a flavor of what that event looks like.
Morning, everyone.
And how do we start? Welcome to another great day in the city, right? All right. We talked about the work plan and such. I can tell you that one of the things that we did as a council, because we set this as a priority, is we said that we don't want to just hire someone and say your first task is to go out and raise money to do things. So the council set aside about $500,000 to our Economic Development Reserve account to begin not only the program work, but also the marketing piece. Talk about an incubator. I'm proud to say the council just voted the other night to put a 50% match into an incubator study. That was $15,000. And I also want to say thank you to the Chamber and others who have also come forth to put up money for that study. I think that's important. But one of the things we also noticed in terms of cultural events and other events in Concord is that our processes to actually obtaining permits and such were really cumbersome. We have completely streamlined the processes, so if you want to hold an event in downtown, there's a much easier process to follow, and hopefully that will encourage other events to occur, because I think we all do better when we see things happening. It's important to note that when you talk to many of our firefighters and paramedics, they will tell you that it can be the same person who will call once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times a month. And, so they are also acting as social workers. They're acting as drug counselors and such, because they're trying to find help for individuals so they don't have to continue to just respond to the same individual. And I think what I'm really happy with and proud of is that, Manchester talked about safe stations, Nashville talked about safe stations. That didn't work for us. But it wasn't because we weren't out there trying to solve and find a solution. It just that particular solution didn't work in our city. So we have partnered with Riverbend and Concord Hospital, and I think that partnership has really enabled us to go out to the individual who may be in stress and to try to find the appropriate response to that individual.
Loudon Road, and again, we'll promise we won't talk about this ever again after today. The project has moved forward. As you remember, last time we talked about this, there was a whole different road diet program involved with that. City Council had several public meetings and decided to go to keeping the 4 lanes. We're going to be doing a full resurfacing, trench improvements. There's going to be also driveway improvements, sidewalk improvements. All that work you're going to start to see end of June, early July. One of the projects you'll see starting, we're going to be discussing this at the next City Council in May, is the Multi-Generational Community Center project up in the Heights. You can see there was really 3 buildings up there built in the 60s, the 40s, and the 70s. And you'll see that is the rendering that the Turner Group has actually put together for us with a new gymnasium going there. We're going to have multi-purpose rooms, exercise rooms, senior rooms for our senior programming, high school size gym with lockers, because that's the larger building on the back, and a multi-purpose kitchen, because we want to be able to work with Meals on Wheels programs to be able to actually have a commercial kitchen so they can actually operate out of here. So that will be the layout.
What I really want to share, though, is thank you for each one of you who spent the time and volunteered and gave in other ways.
Well, apparently that our hour is almost over with you, both of you, Dan and Sam Habib. But it's great having you here. I want to know what's coming up for film projects for both of you in the future.
Well, yeah, we've each got some plans. First of all, the Mr. Connolly Has ALS film, we're now trying to get out there nationally around the country. I have to say that ConcordTV played a significant role in that film. Josh Hardy, your station manager, worked with me early on the project, provided tons of archival material for Mr. Connolly, so ConcordTV has a big stake in that film as well. But I'm also going to be working on a new project that's called Intelligent Lives, and it's a documentary that's coming out next year on how we see intelligence as a society, and especially how it affects individuals with intellectual disability. So you'll be hearing a lot about that in 2018, and Samuel's got his own plans.
I hope to work with my dad in the future on a sequel to Including Samuel, but this time I will help film and direct it.
Right, so Samuel's going to be leaving, he's finishing his senior year, and he's got some exciting plans to keep going on for a while. So one of them is going to be our collaborative efforts on filmmaking.
Well, we love having you on today as our co-host, Dan and Sam Habib. Thank you so much, and keep up the great work and inspiring our youth video campers.
Thank you.
And you're welcome.
Yeah, well, thank you for all that Concord TV does. The video camps and the station and CHS Live have been a really big part of our lives, and so we really appreciate all the work you guys do.
Thank you. And speaking of video camps, we have a roll-in right now to take a peek at some of the work of our video camps, right?
All right.
Thanks again.
Thank
for being
you.
Here,
Thank
both
you.
Of you.
It's a pleasure.
Hi, I'm Josh, and with me I have Justin and Melissa, and we are so excited to tell you about our 2017 summer camp season.
Over the course of the summer, we filmed over 31 different films, everything from silent movies to PSAs to scene recreations.
And at the end of the summer, we had a big film festival at Red River Theater showcasing all the hard work the kids did all summer long. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of those highlights.
Roll it.
Cut to video.
You got it, Josh. Work.
5, 4, 3, 2.
What's up, Concord? We're here at the Youth Video Camp Film Festival screening. I am here with Evan and Emily. Now, this is, I think, our first brother and sister duo for filmmaking camp. And these guys did a great job. We had so much fun. Evan, tell me, what was your favorite movie that you worked on during camp?
Casablanca. Ho Ho No.
Yeah? Do you hope it made it in the festival?
Yeah.
I like the Wizard of Oz and Mary Poppins.
Be Gone Spray. That's one of my favorite.
And one last question for you. Who are you wearing today?
What?
Oh, so I have a question. Is
Yes.
this actually going on TV?
This, it may not. And some of the movie clips might.
I don't know if I'm happy or sad.
You should be thrilled.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
We're going to talk a little bit in the next minute or two about the creative economy in the Concord area. Most people don't realize what a strong economic impact arts and culture and art galleries and artistic institutions have in this area. And we recently conducted a study through Americans for the Arts and found that just the nonprofit sector involved in arts and culture in Concord generates more than $30 million annually in direct spending and impact. And this is not taking into consideration the multiplier effect and things that not everyone agrees with. So that's just the nonprofit sector. So it's a really important part of our economy, and we've really seen a lot more entertainment opportunities here and theater and shows, making this just so much more of an exciting community.
You know, I mean, Tim, you deserve a lot of credit for that. You have really grown the whole arts and entertainment community within Concord, but you know, we've tried to do our share, even adding buskers to Main Street, to making sure we're continuing to talk about the importance and vitality of whether it be the Campus of the Arts or the Concord Music School. You know, I think it's important that we continue to grow that, because you're absolutely right. It does have a huge impact, but I think it's also a quality of life issue too.
Absolutely.
I'm finding more and more we're trying to attract younger folks, workforce issues, and there's expectation that there's going to be trails and rails, and there's going to be music, and there's going to be entertainment, and there's arts, and so I mean, it's a really important part of the economy.
Well, the reason the Chamber is interested is because you hit the nail on the head. It is a workforce issue as far as we're concerned. It does have a lot to do with quality of life for people that live here, that we enjoy this, that it's a reason why we live here, why we raise families here. But if we want to attract young professionals, if we want to continue to attract employers, we have to focus in on that. And the interesting thing is that as we began to look at the creative economy, we began to realize that we have an inventory of culture in this community that is really second to no other community in New Hampshire. If you put together all the arts and cultural organizations just on a local and regional level, we compare to any other community very, very favorably. So why not begin looking at that and packaging it and telling the rest of the world our story?
And the nice piece is it's only going to continue to grow. I mean, if you look at just the opportunities that I think have presented itself with partnerships with the Capitol Center and potentially a new Concord Theater, I think it's a great opportunity. So I don't think we're coming back. And
no, I don't think we are.
I wanted to say thank you very much. You've made this a really easy hour, and I want to also thank ConcordTV, which when you talk about arts and entertainment and such, they are such a critical part of what happens in Concord and making sure the word gets out there. But for me and the city government, you know, there's nothing better than when I have people come up to me and say, hey, well, I saw you on television last night. It's a little scary at times, but the fact is that means people are paying attention, and ConcordTV is vital to making sure that people are connected to their government and their community.
Absolutely. Critical role. We're very grateful to ConcordTV. And we do have a video segment that is related to what we're talking about. New this year, ConcordTV's Concord Originals, featuring artists, musicians, writers who are part of Concord's vibrant creative community. So Mark Dion is a singer-songwriter who travels and performs all across New England. His improv style of songwriting makes for great entertainment and interaction with his audience. So with that, a video.
Hi, my name is Mark Dion, and I'm a Concord Original. I play acoustic guitar and sing, and I do an improv type style songwriting where I have a topic and I will sing and play about that topic. Part of what I do is I ask people to give me 3 things, and it's called These 3 Things. They can be any topics, and then to also pick a genre of music, so it can be folk, rap, rock, country, and within those 3 things I do an improv song. I enjoy performing mostly because of the reactions I get, and when I can tap into another person's memories or what they've lived and seen. When that comes around and plays itself out in a song, and then I see their reaction, that can really be very satisfying and enjoyable, especially when it's a little funny and not so serious. I'm inspired by a lot of things that happen in the moment, so when I'm playing out, the improv style lends itself to what's ever happening at that moment, where I am and who the people are around me, whether it's what's happening on the evening news or what people are talking about. And having lived in Concord my whole life, there's just it has almost absolutely everything you can imagine. Its proximity is almost central to New England. It has the coast, the mountains, the waters, and the people. It's just a wonderful place to live. The song I'm going to perform is called The Zero Class, and I hope you enjoy.
Oh no, Mr. Bill, I see another river coming down. facing the upside down. Tell me turn that frown around. And I say, hell, that's fine, but you took my piece of ground. And you're telling me, gotta fly away when I'm trying to see how bit a piece of me I lost. Then I see you're on zero class, took it all away so fast, and nothing left but there's no soul remaining where the people live for, and it's all gone to someone wanted more. When was it never enough? I don't know, but it's gone too far. When 10 zeros behind your name is not enough, I lost sight of my own game, and I'm getting tough. 'Cause I know this card game, I gotta bluff my way around. 'Cause I've seen all the games in this town, and I think I'll be rigged another way. 'Cause the zero class came, took it all away, and left nothing behind but nothing save the game 1 inch together when it's gone. You're all left behind, and zeros come in line. One thing to help will be what's left, and I know that we'll come together when it's all gone. Hope it's not too late, Mr. Bill. I'd rather save you than see you fall. 'Cause no one wants that wall to come tumbling down, and I see it's all been done, and it's a merry-go-round now. I'll get down, we all fly around until